back to the Balance Beam. I'm your host, Naketa Thigpen, and as always, I am excited, ecstatic, enthralled to be here. This is a fantastic day, and I couldn't be happier because I have someone on the other end of the show that's bringing me so much life this morning. The energy, the authenticness, the rawness, it's amazing and transforming. I bring to you an incredible transformation fitness coach, Jackie O'Doherty, who's here to tell you how she works with all of you who are trying to get balance in your body. She's amazing. Welcome, Jackie, to the Balance Beam.
Thank you, Naketa. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to see you. Like, you don't even understand. This is fantastic. I was watching your YouTube the other day, and I saw something you were doing with inflammation in your hands. It was incredible because I do have Raynaud's, so I'm really careful with the ice, but it was helpful. I was able to do it following your steps without, putting myself into any negative positions, and it really did help the inflammation in my hands. So thank you for that education piece.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you could use it and that it was helpful.
It was super helpful. So tell everyone who doesn't know how amazing and incredible that you are, what you do, how you do it, why you do it, and what brings you to the Balance Beam.
All right. Well, I'm a transformational fitness coach, which means that I help people transform their bodies. And while helping people transform their bodies, there's also many other changes that happen within them. And whenever there's an emotional component that comes up, if they're blocked in any way, I use wonderful modalities to help them heal that and help them to move forward and get the results that they really need.
That is amazing. So here's a question, and we're gonna jump in and go dig and go really hard. I am an energy person. So I know that as much as people can bring great energy, like you bring great, awesome energy, even via the internet technology waves, you bring great energy. But when you are touching people, laying your hands on them, you feel their energy in a much more intensive way. So if they're really drained, some of your energy can be drained with them, and you have to be really balanced yourself. How are you protecting yourself from, basically falling into the fray of negative energy or crappy space, really?
Well, that's a really good question. When I'm working with someone as a fitness coach, and what I do, I specialize in small group trainings and large group trainings. I have upwards to 45 people in a class, and when I'm working in a small group fitness training, it could be 6 people. But when people come for fitness coaching, they're usually already in a pretty good place. And the way I set my class is that they can leave all the negativity outside. You can leave it at the door before you come in. And when they do that, I find that when it comes to being in fitness, whether I'm working with an NFL hopeful or whether I'm working with somebody who's 70 years old and who's never exercised before in their life, the one thing that they have in common, the one negative thing that will completely take down their results is being judgmental of themselves.
Wow.
That's the number, and we all do it to one extent or another. And so when I teach the classes, or when I teach anyone, we always begin from that place of complete non-judgment. And what happens is people, at first, if they have a pattern of judging themselves and being negative about it or anything, they'll actually realize just from working with me and working side by side with the people in the class that they've learned not to judge themselves, that they're placing themselves right back in the challenge time and time again. When they need to rest, they rest. When they need to place their body back into straight alignment, they do that. And then they place themselves back in the challenge. There's no judgment at all. There's no frustration. There's no, and so I keep my classes free from that. And people just kind of absorb that through osmosis. Do you understand what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
inside, we know what's healthy. we know we gravitate toward health, physical health and mental health. So when someone is in an environment where they're seeing a healthier way, they automatically embrace it. And some people, it takes more time than others, but it happens. So it's a beautiful thing to see.
That is amazing. You're setting the tone for your environment, and anyone who enters feels it first, but then obviously you reconfirm it with actual, kind of housekeeping directions. Like, this is what I need you to do if you start to feel this way, or you are already feeling this way, which is really good. And that's from the other side of my hat, the business strategy side. That is boundaries in your business and being really clear, to set what the expectation is when they walk into that room or to that space and atmosphere. So I'm proud of you for doing that, because a lot of business women struggle with that, especially as a healer and a helper. It's really hard because you have to walk from that other side of yourself, which is like, I'm here to help you and I'm going to love on you and give you all my skill, but I'm also here to set the tone that I'm going to keep everyone else in this space safe as well. So
yeah, it's great because if someone is negative, it's because that's a message.
mm-hmm.
That's a message that they're giving themselves. If we're feeling something that's less than good, then that's just our immune system. It's our emotional immune system talking to us and saying, wait a minute, there's something going on here that's bad for me. And so when I see somebody, if they're really in a negative place, it just means that their body's giving them a signal, their mind's giving them a signal. And instead of judging it, they can say, you come from a place of complete compassion for it, because we all have that going on inside sometimes. But calling it to the surface,
mm-hmm.
it just dissolves it. It dissolves it in time. It just can't be there anymore because they understand that there's a healthier way, or that they're being given a signal to change, and it makes it effortless. When I talk about effortless transformation, that's really what's happening. Is that the negativity or the bad parts just kind of fall by the wayside. They just kind of dissolve, and what's really truly you, what's really inside of you, can come to the surface then. And what you are inside is awesome. Everybody, every single person, what is inside of you is awesome, because you're built that way, you're made that way, you were created that way. And once all the insecurity,
mm-hmm.
negativity, once all that just goes away, who you really are shines forth.
Absolutely. You have a lot in common. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. I know she's an author. She does a lot of leadership systems and I think profit training in the corporate arena mostly. Her name is Dr. Monica Ogando. I want to say it's Ogondo. I have to double check that. She periscopes a lot, and I'm a big periscoper. I'm really into it. I follow her. She gives valuable information. She was just actually scoping about a similar angle of the conversation that you're having right now just yesterday, about those negative characteristics and traits that we may see in other people that may be literally showing up in the room. It's not in our head. It's not an imaginated thing. This person really was being very negative or kind of a jerky. That often we have to look at what that's stirring up for ourselves, because if we look at what's existing there, we're putting some of that energy out, which is why we're attracting that. To your point about setting the tone.
Absolutely correct. That is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So if you're experiencing it, it's because it's inside. And one of the things that I one of the understandings that I have, and one of the things that I teach, is the inside out model, which is that like our experience is inside out.
Mm-hmm.
If you're experiencing it outside of you, it's because there is something inside of you that has displayed it for you, so that you can heal it, so that you can clear it up within yourself, because you have it. If you use the word attract, you have attracted it. Yeah. So Monica, what's her last name?
Monica, I'm probably going to mispronounce her name, but I believe, because it's Dr. Monica Ogando. I'll get that information for you, and I'll put it at the bottom of that. She's an excellent. I really like her scopes a lot. They're very valuable. And to your point, she talks about because of everything that's on the inside, you either have to release it or it's going to elevate in your life. So you're going to attract more of that thing you didn't want if you're not checking it and dealing with it to release the negativity. So you guys have
Absolutely right.
yeah, you have a lot of synergy in common. And I talk about developing the inside of the person so we can make sure we get through all that professional BS that's standing in the way, that everyone's hiding behind, the pearls and the hills, and let's get to the real. So
it is. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
It's
Operating
crazy.
from the inside out is the way to go.
It is. That's so awesome. And you have a background in biology too, right?
That's right. That's right. I have a bachelor's in biology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm in certifications in group fitness training.
That makes sense. So you're truly looking at the inside.
I love it because people, we can talk about the energy and all the intangible things, but when you have but having the biology component to it too, that makes things more tangible for people. And the more and more we learn that there, all these things that we thought were just metaphysical are actually physical. It's actually the meat and potatoes of life. We just didn't know it before. And there's more and more biological proof to what we've kind of sensed
This
for a long time.
No, you're absolutely. I was quoting you for this whole time. It's so amazing how after all these years and all these books and all these discoveries and documentaries on things that people thought, sensed, felt, but no one believed until there was proof. And it keeps coming up. And we know that we think, sense, feel other things, but we'll also simultaneously say, well, until it's written in a book, until it's proven. It's almost like we're waiting, to your point earlier, actually, now that I think about it out loud, we're waiting for validation because of the fear of judgment, that thought, because it's not tangible and we don't have some evidence-based statement behind it with like 5,000 cited references to go along with it, that it'll be judged as inaccurate or not essential or just not as important as someone who happens to have been at a place that is validated now. But then 30 years later or 100 years later, it becomes validated, which is really interesting of how we perceive ourselves and how that throws us off balance altogether when we're constantly waiting for validation, right?
Isn't that true? Yeah. If you go with what you know and trust it, it'll lead you to a new place that's just better than you ever thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah. at least that's been my experience. But I'm still trying to trust it. I'm still, ignoring, that knowing. I ignore it sometimes, and so but the more we can listen to it and let it come through, even if we don't know where it's going to lead us, it's a good place. It's going to be a good place.
Well, Jackie, you're right. I mean, it's a daily struggle. So people will often look at me because I do a lot, and I get it. I'm not special. I just do what I'm supposed to do, and I still have more to do that's, riling up in me. So it just is what it is based on my specific capacity. And I always make a point to say my capacity is mine, which means I have to fill it. I got to pour in myself just as deep so I can pour out. Someone else's capacity may look different than mine, but we have important jobs nonetheless. So it's no comparison at all. However, with that said, when people look at me and are like, oh, well, you're a balance advisor, you're an expert for women, you do all these things, then I know your life is perfect. On what planet? Like, no, balance is a daily, top of mind struggle for me, because every time I make room for all of the yeses that are in the universe that God has aligned for me, there's more things that are put up as distractions. More, new level, new devil. There's more problems that come. The more money you make, the more clients you get, the more opportunities you have. The more spotlight you have, the more attacks you're under. There's always these other things that you have to now juggle and balance, literally, in your life. My kids get older every hour of every day, which means different hormones, different attitudes, a different personality.
Oh, yeah.
It's a struggle.
It's true. We're not. That's just it. We're not. And every life coach or self-help person, the people who are out there who are really good at what they do, they'll be the first ones to call themselves out. I'm the first one to call myself out that it is work to keep balanced, but it's, and we don't always get it right. But there is a method to it, and it's teachable, and you can certainly gain more balance in your life than you ever thought. If you really know, and it's debatable that you're not great, because a lot of people think you're great. So I'm one of those people too. So
Oh, you're sweet. Well, I'm really biblical, so I do believe that you don't exalt yourself. You let others do it for you, and if that's the energy that I'm putting out, then I'm putting out a very awesome energy, which is what I'm supposed to do. But I just stay low. I stay to the vine. I'm just like whatever way he used me, because as quick as you can be put on a pedestal, you can get knocked right off that bad boy. So I just stay really even and put everything out that I'm supposed to, which I know you do the same way. I sense it in your spirit, especially on our pre-interview conversation. You're just like, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do and putting my 150% energy and effort into it, because that's what your clients depend on from you.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, and it is all him. It comes all from him.
It does.
So I have that gratitude every single day. Every
Absolutely. And you get to work. I mean, how amazing is it, Jackie? You get to work with people in probably the most vulnerable state that they're in when it comes to their body, right? Because we live in such a unfortunately superficial world where if you don't look a certain way, if you don't fit in jeans a certain way, if you don't wear that top a certain way or that dress, male or woman, whatever's happening in the physical representation of how they're expected to show up in their environments, they don't feel good about themselves and they don't come across as powerful as they really are. Because you have to know your power. You don't have to whip it out and show it to everybody every 20 seconds, but you definitely should know your power. But if you're struggling with your health and your body and your wellness, that's very difficult to feel comfortable about that power you're packing back there, and be in a place to use it. And you help people get to that place of acceptance. That's amazing.
Thank you. It's when you're saying how the superficial, how people are superficial and what they look at and everything. And I think you really hit the nail on the head though when you said if they're struggling and if they're uncomfortable, then they can't allow their power to shine forth because that struggle is taking up their energy. And from one of the first words in my program are, it's not about losing weight, it's about freedom. Because, and that's why it's called the freedom method, is because it's not about how you look. It's not about losing weight at all. It's not about having, it's truly about being comfortable with your body again. It's about being comfortable in your own skin. It's about being free to move the way you want to move as a person, so that your message can come out, so that you can fulfill whatever purpose you have in life. And so if someone feels like they have this uncomfortable relationship with their body, they that discomfort prevents them from unleashing all the wonderfulness that's inside of them. And so the more someone has this great relationship with their body, regardless of what size they are, regardless of how they look, when you're just comfortable with your movement, that's the key. And then, because everything we do, of course, is from the inside out, once that gets established, what happens effortlessly is anything that's unnecessary that they're carrying with them just completely sheds. It just sheds off of them because it has no place anymore. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I'm just sitting, I'm smiling because you're helping them release their success. And it starts from the inside out, obviously. To your point, to anoint that point with a highlighter because it's so important. But literally, you're releasing all the negativity, the toxic emotional attachments that they've had to the weight and the weight experiences, or the unhealthy, because I know for everyone it's not always just weight. Sometimes it's the tonation, their arms aren't, muscular enough, or or whatever, their legs, everyone has their spot, their spot that they want to.
You're absolutely
Right.
correct. Because there are people who, someone could walk in the room who appears to be, very, very thin.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask them, are they happy with their body? They're going to say no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
About 90% of the time. And why is that? Why shouldn't we just be happy with ourselves? Well, it's our birthright. It's our God-given right to be happy in the vehicle that He's given us. And so, that's really what I love to bring to people, and it's all in movement. It's in how you move and breathe. And if you have that new comfort,
Mm-hmm.
it's something that they can learn, and it's a mindset switch, and it's beautiful to see it happen.
That's awesome. So do you do a lot of movement in your personal space, between yourself personally? Obviously, I know you work out a lot because you're doing it to stay strong for your clients and with your clients. But when you're in your downtime and you're kind of just in reconnect mode, is movement or some of the freedom method, the aspects of the freedom method, is that a part of how you bring it down, or is that really more of a power up for you, more so than a power down?
Oh, it's both. That's absolutely. It's a great question, Naketa. It's one of these questions no one's ever asked me before. But it's both. It can power up, and it can also restore and rejuvenate. And it's all about listening to what kind of movement your body wants at the time. And I have, I think it's one of the videos that I posted on YouTube. It has, someone will say, what do I do if I don't have the energy to work out? And I always say, instead of reaching for comfort food, reach for comfort movement. There are movements that you can have, even if it's just getting down on the floor and hugging your knees to your chest and rocking back, stretching your back, whatever it is. There are movements that can actually be very comforting to you. And so somebody will say, well, I don't feel that great. And they force themselves to go to the gym or to do lifting. And sometimes that helps. Sometimes, the endorphins and changes the biochemistry. And of course, sometimes that makes us feel better. But if we're having something emotional going on, or if we're recuperating from having a cold or being under the weather, and we're just not completely up to it, if you go into a workout that's too vigorous, and if you force yourself into it, you could cause injury. So by reaching for the comforting movements, finding movements that comfort you, that can really make it so that you'll recharge, and the next day you're stronger than ever. Too many times people force their bodies to do stuff that they just shouldn't do. And so that's one of the things that I love to show people is how movement can be, powerful and vigorous and exciting, and movement can also be really, really nurturing. And even if someone feels like, well, what could this possibly do? After they do it, say, oh, okay. Once they feel what it actually does to their circuitry, it changes everything.
No, that makes complete sense. It's been a long time. I want to say almost 10 years ago. I remember reading like a NASA article somewhere in one of my academic hats, and they talked about the importance of stretching, and how stretching is the most important thing you can do in and for your body. Like, there's nothing more powerful than making yourself more limber. It does actually recharge you and give you more energy. And that was NASA well over 10 years ago, and people are just kind of catching up to it. So that's amazing that you teach that.
Yeah, the flexibility is something that is so, when your joints are truly flexible, I'm going to use the word again, then you're free. If your joints are flexible, then you are free. And if you're free, then your movement can be more expressive. You can stand up straighter, you can breathe better, and you just feel great. So yeah, flexibility is a huge component of it.
Absolutely. So, how flexible are you in your downtime with switching hats? Because obviously, you're someone who's really focused on the inside of the body and all the external parts of the body that keep you charged and fueled and allow you to rest well. But then, you have to have on your sister hat, your daughter hat, your girlfriend hat, your wife hat, and you
Yeah,
have to
mom had.
transition, right?
Yeah. I have two girls also. So I've got a
Oh,
4-year-old and I've got a 9-year-old, and the 14-year-old's going to be 15 at the end of the month. So I'm
oh wow.
yeah. So I've got a teenager and I've got a 9-year-old, and it's really it's big. It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, anybody who you know anybody who has a life is busy.
Mm-hmm,
We have so much that there's our lives are full, and
mm-hmm.
um, but definitely having my own practice and having children, husband, household, it is a lot. So
Yeah.
um, one of the things that I do to replenish, which has been, and this is it, finding balance is all about, I'm going to use another fitness term,
Mm-hmm.
because when people work out and you use your muscles, you need rest and recovery time.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have the rest and recovery time so that the muscle can heal, get stronger, and then you can go back and place yourself in another challenge the muscles again, have another good workout, and then you go into rest and repair. So it's like this cycle, it's this back and forth
Mm-hmm.
that you have to have. And too much rest and repair, the muscle's not going to get stronger. But too much exercise, those micro tears aren't gonna heal, and you risk further injury, and it's not healthy. So when I really started diving deep into this idea of rest and repair, what happened was every single self-help book that I ever read started to make more sense, because what we're really talking about is depletion versus replenishment.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, so when we talk about depletion versus replenishment, once you start seeing it through those goggles, that every area of my life and everything that I do in life is either serving to deplete me or replenish me. And so when you pull back I'm so big into going back to the basics.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And when you go back to the basics of life, you've got air, water, food, sleep. Start figuring out how to replenish yourself in those areas. Breathing deeper, getting fresher air. Water, hydration is huge, not just drinking water, but eating water-based foods, eliminating foods that are salty and dry, really just saturating your tissues with hydration. Food, having nourishing foods that just saturate yourself with nutrients, which means eliminating things that deplete us of nutrients. And things that deplete us of nutrients are sugar and white flour, alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, all those awful things. Just eliminating those from our lives, because they deplete us. That'll cause the replenishment to come back up. So once you start to see that life is this depletion versus replenishment, and then once you've got air, water, food, and sleep taken care of, then the next three components of your life are physical activity, social activity, and regular spiritual practice. And so you've got to realize that certain things in our lives deplete us of those components, and we have to work to replenish those. So those are your 7: air, water, food, sleep, physical activity, social activity, regular spiritual practice. If you've got those, and you work on replenishing them every day, and we can't always replenish. We can't always replenish, especially if we are, think life happens.
Yep.
Life just happens, and there's times where we like I remember when my first daughter was born, and she had one of the worst cases of colic
Mm.
that doctors had ever seen. This was before any formulas came out with, or they knew about acid reflux in infants and things like that. It was before that. So, we had a really big challenge, and she didn't sleep through the night. She was still up 5 times a night at 3 years old. So the depletion of sleep was, and people were saying, how are you getting through it? But because I knew my 7 components, because my sleep was being depleted, I replenished the other areas of my life until we got through that period. Is this making sense?
Absolutely. I'm 100% on that level of making sure you shift and go in alignment with where you need to go, but not necessarily where you want to go. We would all rather just sleep and be like, husband, take the baby for the next week. Or mom, come over and take the baby. But that's not realistic. You have to, if you have 4 conferences coming up with lots of clients, corporate clients, individual clients, small groups, large groups, all that, that only happens every so often. You have to ride that wave and you have to go with it. So your work life is probably, much higher on that balance beam than your personal life at that time. But then you come down and you make sure you spend some time with your husband and you spend some time with your children to kind of reset it, and you rock that balance beam. So no, we're speaking the same language. I'm right there with you. This is awesome. Awesome. I love alignment. So much alignment, Jackie. I love alignment. This is awesome.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
This is so good. So you were able to make sure you had your own sense of balance at a really difficult time, especially being this was your oldest daughter, so you were a new mom, right?
Brand new mom. Yep. Brand new business. Just started into moved from the pharmaceutical field into the wellness field. A lot of changes going on, and for the sleep deprivation to come in at a time like that, it was also a time where we all have our support system in life, and so things were going on with our support system that wasn't available to us. So it was really just the 2 of us, and so we got through it. We got through it, and it made me even more appreciate when you can have a life that's balanced.
Absolutely.
When you can replenish every part, every component of your life.
As a businesswoman, a wife, a mother, who also rocks a corporate hat, so you also have a lot of knowledge from that space and place that you were at that never goes away. It always stays with you. The game doesn't change, just the players, that whole mantra. What do you feel like is the biggest regret that you have from not being able to balance at a certain time in your life when you weren't able to do it because of whatever their circumstances were? How much did that lack of balance really affect you in that time, and hopefully produce, your next level of success because of the lesson that you took from that lack of balance?
Oh, okay. Oh, great question. Because being when you've got a time in your life like that hurts. And I know there's everybody listening to this is probably thinking of a time in their life when they've gone through that. And I think if I think of I don't know if it would be a regret. I regret that. Oh okay.
I saw the moment. I saw it on your face.
What hurt the most? What hurt the most was that I couldn't have the moments to pray that I would have, because even going to church, having a baby that was extraordinarily fussy during church meant someone had to constantly be walking with it, having that time to even, being so exhausted that I didn't know, because I didn't understand completely the inside out model, because I didn't understand the inside out model, what I missed during those times, we get this other extraneous thought that goes on. And until we understand that life is built from the inside out, which means that you're in a thought-created world. And if I had just allowed my thinking to calm down more, it would have made it so much easier. It wasn't until about 4 years ago that I truly learned the inside-out model of innate health. It's also called the four principles. And then when you understand that, if your thinking is off track, you're going to be feeling anxiety, you're going to be feeling depressed, you're going to be feeling amped up or frustrated, but all that is your emotional immune system telling you to point your thinking in another direction, put the insecure thinking aside, and then the healthier thought, you're built to make a healthier thought come through. I wish that I had known in that crisis, or I don't want to say it was a crisis time, that difficult time, if I had known that the more my thinking calmed down, slowed down, the more I could have a healthier experience in that moment. If I had known that at the time, it would have been so much easier. It would have made the mountains into molehills.
Right.
It would have made everything just flow so much better. And thank heaven, like now that I do know the inside out model, we know that if something's happening, it's coming from inside, and if you heal it and clear it, then you're going to have a fresh new experience. That's priceless.
Yep.
That's like better than winning the lottery. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
You totally answered it. No, Jackie, you totally answered it. That was a very pivotal experience for you when you understood the power of your thoughts and how it can create action or inaction and stabilize or destabilize your life. And obviously words are very connected to that, because if you were having kind of scattered, ramped, amped up thoughts, some of the words that were coming out your mouth at the time probably were a reflection of what was going on in the inside, at least in your personal space, maybe not in your professional space.
I was really quiet during that time.
I can't even imagine. That's crazy.
But at the same time, I was so grateful. I was so grateful. I had this wonderful healthy baby, and a wonderful wellness center, and it was so there were a lot of really good things that I can look back on now and see at that time. It was really good.
Did your decoding program come out of that, Jackie?
Pardon?
Did your decoding program come out of that time, or did you write that before?
The Freedom Method program?
For when you were decoding, like what balance meant for you and the depletion and replenishment part.
Yes, that's right. There is a program that came out of that called Depletion versus Replenishment: Living Your Life on Full. So now that you have inspired me with the balance beam and everything else, that will be packaged very soon. And as I'm in the process of putting together webinars that people can attend, both for the Freedom Method and for depletion versus replenishment. And so teaching people how to incorporate these ideas into their life to really have a great balanced experience.
You like how I did that, like really soft plug? Like I was really smooth about that plug, right? You were like, wait, what happened? Oh, you want me to tell that? Okay. I'll let these people know that I'm a mogul too. I'll let them know that. That's phenomenal. This is awesome. You're so awesome. So what would be a great place to go power up and power down? Your favorite place to stay? What would you recommend for all the Balance Beamers listening across the globe?
Oh, wow. Well, let's see. I think anywhere where there's an ocean or in the mountains is just great. Anywhere in nature. There is, I think my favorite place in the world would be the Jade Mountain Resort in St. Lucia. If you see the photos online, it is amazing looking.
Ooh.
Never been there myself, but love to go. But it is right on the beach. I recharge when I go to Ocean City and I'm there, and if there's shore and rocks, and I think everybody should see Maine. Maine in
Ooh.
August is amazing. If you like water and rocks and seashore, it's just a completely, here on the East Coast, we're used to so much sand, and then you go up to Maine and there's the rocks, and just sunning yourself on a rock while the ocean is underneath of you is just like the most amazing feeling. And so that's, yeah, I think that's a great place to recharge.
Well, that was a great
Um,
visual, that's for sure. I got pulled into sitting on top of the rocks and hearing the crash of the ocean
yeah,
come up there.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh, and I think that we can recharge anytime once you once you feel, because we're always feeling our thinking. So if you're ever in a place where you're feeling really, if you're having those bad feelings, just put whatever it is you're thinking, even if you think you're 100% right for thinking what you're thinking in that moment, put it aside for a minute and allow a fresh thought to come in, and it will. And that's almost like taking a mini vacation anytime. Allowing yourself to deep breathe every day, allowing your being gentle with yourself is it's so it's so important, and it doesn't get enough credit. It's so underrated. But being gentle with yourself and never judging yourself is also just this. You're going to feel replenished and recharged almost all the time.
Absolutely. I totally agree. There's something about, and I definitely don't hide my spirituality, so I talk about it all the time on the balance beam, on 5 a.m. wake up and breakthrough club, and on everything, anywhere that I am. If people say, how do you do what you
Yeah.
do? I give credit where credit is due, and it's not me. And the fruit of the spirit includes gentle honesty. And you have to be not just gentle and honest with other people, but with yourself. And people mix up that honest part of gentle honesty and they take it as a judgment of themselves. When you do have to make sure that you're judging your negative actions, your positive actions, so you have an idea of where to place it, to fix it or fold it, to improve or congratulate and reward yourself. But that doesn't mean to compare, Jackie, Naketa, Steven, John, and Joe to each other and say, well, they're all fitness experts. I'm not, by the way, but they're all fitness experts. So let's line them up against the wall and say who's better or stronger. You just have to look at what works for you. But we do that with ourselves. We'll look at ourselves and be like, well, I'm a fitness expert and I'm not as agile as Jackie is. She was a previous ballerina, or she's a dancer, so she has these other things she can bring to the table, and maybe I'm just I don't know, into kickboxing or something else that doesn't maybe use the same level of agility to it. We have two different styles. We shouldn't compare ourselves and compete with each other. We should say, wow, there's some alignment, that whether we
Yeah.
want to come together in a JV partnership or not, I have clients that may not be as agile or want to be because of physical restrictions or limitations, and they could benefit from going to your kickboxing classes, Naketa, and vice versa, for people who want to be more agile to go to Jackie. But we do it
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's exactly right. We all have our strengths, and it's all good. It's all good because everybody needs different things at different times, and depending on it all depends on how, the way you're built to move is the way you're built to
Yep.
move, and that can change through your lifetime as well. So so many times we judge ourselves because, like you said, we think it's a component of humility, and we want to please Him. We want to please God, and so we want to be humble, and so sometimes we get taught that criticizing ourselves or harshly judging ourselves is the road to be a good person, because it's so important to all of us to be a good person. And so then we get into this habitual pattern of self-criticism, and that's when it becomes unhealthy, and it actually takes us further away from God and our purpose and everything. So the more that you can be gentle, and that honesty, when that honesty comes in, and if we're lucky, we have people around us to keep us honest too.
Yes.
Yeah, and to keep us that way. So, and that's a blessing too.
No, absolutely. That's such a powerful point. We talk about a lot the difference between a good intention and a God intention. We all hopefully, unless we're, being sociopathic and evil, we all have good intentions with most things at most times. But just because it was a good idea doesn't mean that it was connected to your purpose and you're supposed to do it. And that's, I think, where a lot of those comparisons and those competitions come up, is because we're trying to play in lanes that weren't built for us. We all have our own territory. And we have to be really careful not to exclude people from being able to walk in over and share the experience of our territory with us. And also by, including people that don't belong there, which is, that honest circle that you're talking about. Like, who's really around you? Are these going to be people that say, no, Jackie, don't do that. Don't wear blue on a green screen because you're going to fade away, versus them just saying, oh, girl, you look good. Like, no, tell me that I'm about to look like a headless person. Like, don't let me go out there and show up that way just because, you think I want to hear you congratulate me or say yes. I rather, in a respectful way, that you show up for me to help me be my best self. And that all goes into that pile of that gentle honesty, why we won't be honest with other people, why we're not honest with ourselves, how we got confused with humility being about judging. And a lot of people are raised that way, that's what they think. And humility is just knowing what to say and when to say it. That's all it means. Just know when to shut up and know when to speak. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that you can't accept a compliment or feel really good about the accomplishments that God has allowed you to produce and to create. But it does mean to, stand back and let someone else say, Naketa, you're great. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I mean, I know I'm awesome because he made me awesome, but I'm not going to necessarily go out and be like, hey, everybody, I'm awesome for awesome steaks. Awesome for me means amazing woman encouraging someone other than myself to elevate. That's what it stands for. And that's not something I created. I can't take credit, Jackie. God gave that to me. When I said, who am I to you? He said, you're awesome. And he explained exactly what awesome meant. So I immediately knew what my purpose walk would be.
So he gave you the acronym.
He gave me the acronym.
That's great.
Yep.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's
Amen.
super awesome. Thank you. This was exciting. So how can everyone follow up with you and, catch you? Of course, you too. So tell us all how to get in touch with you after this moment.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah. So my website is JackieO'Doherty.com. And I have a YouTube channel, which is Jackie O'Doherty Fitness and Agility. And yeah, I'd love for people to contact me and sign on to the website, subscribe.
I know that's right. Subscribe, share, and comment. That's right.
Great. And we have the Healthier You conference coming up, which is going to be really wonderful. I'll be talking about the top five most effective self-help techniques for transformation.
Oh, that will be amazing. I hope you're going to do it not only at the Healthier You conference, but on several planes. That'll be amazing.
Yeah, that'll be offered through my website also as a webinar program.
That is awesome. Well, I know the Healthier You conference, I'll get to see you there. I'll be there jumping on the trampoline. That's my favorite place to move.
I love trampolines.
I live by them. Rebounding is just incredible. So I love it. So I hope to see you out there. I know you'll be in your expertise hat and hair all done and, ready to go in and train, but maybe you'll come outside with me.
I will. Is there going to be a juice bar?
Yes, there's going to be a juice bar, which is awesome. I love juicing. Do you juice?
Yes. I juice and I Vitamix. And
Yes.
So yeah, I blend. And I just love putting all the vegetables in, and it just works wonders.
It does. It's juicing has been a vital part of my vitamin therapy and nutrient therapy for myself because I have an autoimmune disease, and it's been amazing. I'm not on any medication because of it. I'm on a lot of vitamins, but I'm not on any medication.
Nutritional approach to it, and look how radiant. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
You. I've been told I have glowy skin. I'm like, no, I think that's all the vitamin A making me look orange or yellow or something, but I'll go with glowy if that's what you want to call it. You were awesome, Jackie.
Thank you so much for sharing this.
Thank you. This was amazing.
For being so generous with your program and your expertise and your knowledge. So it's very much appreciated.
Oh, you're amazing. You stay right there. Don't go anywhere because I have more conversation with you. Sorry, Balance Beamers, you're not privy to this part. Not yet, anyway. We'll have some behind the scenes with Balance Beam later, but not today. I want all the Balance Beamers to definitely go to Jackie's YouTube page first, subscribe, share, and comment. We actually like when you comment because we get to engage with you and we develop better ways to communicate. It encourages our program, it infuses our program, it does all kinds of amazing things so we can give you the best of ourselves and we can pull out the best in you too. So definitely subscribe, share, and comment, and of course you'll have access to her website, email, and all the other ways you want to definitely connect with her. Make sure you give a little plug and be like, I saw you, Jackie, on the Balance Beam. That'll just make me feel really awesome if you do that, just for me, that small little thing. Balance Beamers, I want you to stay right there. We have more tools for you to infuse.
So we're planning a huge health conference, October 10th, save the date. It's a full day conference, and we're really, the purpose of the conference is to really get people to make small changes in their life now. So just small things, you just have to do something now so that you can see the difference and you can see the payoffs in 10, 20, or 30 years from now when it's time to retire. I used to work in long-term care, and I was responsible for traveling to different nursing homes in the area where I had to do chart reviews and check on the medications that all the residents were on, and I was shocked at the number of people who would spend the rest of their lives in nursing homes who were in their 50s and their 60s and their 70s just because they had had a heart attack previously or a stroke previously. And those things, for most of us, are completely preventable. That means we could do something about it. We can change the course that we're on. And so the conference is to really inspire people, empower people, give them the knowledge, the tools, everything that they need to make small changes now so that it'll pay off and they can actually enjoy their retirement down the road. So we're doing a lot of hands-on workshops. We're bringing in some great speakers. We have an awesome keynote speaker, hands-on cooking demonstrations and fitness demonstrations. It's going to be an awesome event. So we're really looking forward to that.